7-4, and we start with Pegasus Boots. So in A Link to the Past, we will be going fast right from the start. And here we go. So the normal start is to go to A Link to the Past because almost all of your Sphere 1 is in there. And with a nice twist with starting Boots is that you can go straight from the portal directly to Saha. So let's see, that was a Crystal in Eastern. It looked like a Metroid in Desert, and I did not get to see what was at Tower of Hera. But Matkap not even going to scout the island, just going to go straight to Sank and gets a vanilla heart container there. We don't know if it's the Sank heart or not, but it's there. And MM2 is going to go straight. All right, and ooh, that's a pendant in Hera. Okay. Let's see what's at Saha. I usually like asking Saha here where the green pen is, because if it's in Super Metroid, it saves you a map check there. Alright, not much in Saha, and Bonk Rocks didn't have anything notable either. I guess maybe the bombs in Bonk Rocks was notable, since Matkap now does not have to farm bombs in the rocks next to the Fortune Teller's hut. Just has the 3 for Kakariko. So that's a little bit of a time save, but nothing that MM2 isn't going to run across either. We've already found 2 power bomb packs. That's pretty good. Like 2 is okay and 3 is comfortable. Ooh, that's a glove too. That's it's awkward routing since we just came from Sank, but again, that's a choice you make, and it's an easy 3 check, so nothing to worry about there. Ooh, the bush crabs are holding red 20s. Might farm those a couple of times. Well, we certainly do not have to worry about power bombs in this seed. That's an early Moon Pearl. Okay, so the way SMZ3 usually goes is that you get one or the other between Moon Pearl and Morph Ball. So apparently, and we already have a glove, so it is very likely that another glove or the hammer is just floating around somewhere. Question is, how early? That's a lamp. I like to see lamps early. But if you see a lamp with 2 swords early, then you might think twice about that. And as chat points out, a lamp and a glove does put the mountain in logic right now. It's not a great trip up the mountain because it's only 3. It's 2 checks plus 1 more you can scout. Depending on how greedy you are, you might want to wait until you get either a hook shot or a hammer and a mirror, so you can get the other side of the mountain at the same time. Save you a trip. Alright, what's that race game? Supers. Alright, Matkap is going to go straight down to Mini Moldorm Cave first. Usually when you route it like this, it means you want to hold off on the dam, because you're giving yourself the option to go left to the desert area on the next trip. Alright, that bomb didn't cooperate. I'm thinking this one's not going to either. These Moldorms are just straight RNG. There it is. You do get an ether out of Mini Moldorm Cave, and Matkap is just going to save and quit straight out, is not going to check the Ice Rod Cave area, which, you know, is an amount of time it takes to get there even with the boots, so instead he's going to go for the density and go for backup escape, which, you know, if a flute comes up, flute 8 is right there, so this, and there's no guarantee that Ice Rod Cave is anything good, so we'll see if that's, see if that comes into play later. All right, there's our key. And oddly enough, there's the Ice Rod. TBD on whether that's required or not, because we don't know if Turtle Rock is a pendant until we get to the Dark World. All right, Matkap is going to Uncle and doesn't really have too much of a loadout to go past this. Like 3 bombs get you maybe 2 checks in escape, unless you farm the all right, now 6 I guess gives you the whole thing if you don't miss. Or if you farm up the small magic again, you can have enough with Ice Rod. Matkap says that's enough. Did not get to see what was in the dam. We'll see what's under the water, though. And just a red 20. MM2 is going to go to Mini Moldorm Cave, so both runners deciding that the desert area right now just does not exist. We can't... Well, the only thing we can't do is actually have a reliable way of defeating Landmo. Ice Rod can do it, but you need to hit every shot. But beyond that, we have everything we need for Desert Palace right now. We have a glove, we have a fire source, and we have some kind of weapon, but it's not great. There's our map in Hyrule Castle, so everything else is an item. Including Dark Cross, which we can do because we have a lamp. It is not often that you have the logically required lamp on the first trip into Hyrule Castle, unless you're checking Hyrule Castle at 90 minutes, in which case things have gone horribly wrong. All right, MM2 is going to give us Ice Rod Cave, while Matkap gives us Zelda Cell. Zelda Cell just has an energy tank. And Matkap is going to take a Death Warp to check Dark Cross. There's our hammer. There's our Dark World access. Well, Matkap is going to get funneled back into this anyway, so it's just a matter of when. Unless he finds the other glove, in which case things might get dicey. So as Chap points out, 12-minute Dark World access is really nice for SMZ3. It's also 4 hearts green mail. So, you know, definitely our runners can handle it, but it is a... Sometimes when the seed gives you that, it's like, oh. Alright, well, there's our Spazer, so that's nice. MM2 is going to fake Flipper, which we can do since we have the Moon Pearl. But this route will leave behind Zora for sure. I mean, We like half magic. Question is, does he scout? He does not scout the ledge, so that's generally fine, since if you don't scout the ledge, then you just super isolate Zora, but leaving two things behind means you have an excuse to come back. Or at least a better excuse to come back. Alright, Matkap's heading up the mountain. If you spike a mirror up here, then you're just checking the rest of it. And another convenience item from him too, that is Screw Attack. Alright, what does the old man have? A cape. Interesting. So Matkap doesn't have a hammer. But we know that half magic and a cape are available. That is a very early Spike Cave. I doubt anyone's going to rush that, but MM2 could conceivably do it once he makes the decision. Oh, we can't do desert yet. We don't have a way in. We can't get to the front door. We need the book. We don't know how to read. Matkap is going to go to Agina, or at least the desert area. We'll see if he scouts the ledge. He does not scout the ledge. He's going to go straight for the item. And MM2 is going to take a trip into the Dark World. And let's see that map check. We've got Green Pendant at Skullwoods. We have Metroid at Pod, and the rest of it is lost to the wind for me anyway. It's a bow and hype cave. That's a good start. Ooh. That's a sufficient hype cave, I think. So we have a bow and a morph ball. And that thing I said 10 minutes ago about usually you get one of the other, apparently that's just nonsense, because now we have both. Now at this point, our runners will have to make a choice about how far they want to dip into A Link to the Past before they go into Super Metroid. We've got plenty of power bombs. We should have sufficient ammo for at least the Bryn loop. The question is, how much do you depend on Bryn having a progression? How much do you depend on Link to the Past having a progression? And MM2 is going to stay in A Link to the Past because, as it turns out, we have a bow, we have a hammer, we have a lamp. That is everything we need for Pod, so let's just get this out of the way now. And this is unfortunate for Matkap. He is dipping eastern, and we know where the bow is, so this might be just a... This might be a double dip that doesn't yield anything on the first pass. We do have a bow-locked pod, since that was not a small key, so MM2 is going to take a Death Warp and then head over to the right side. First item in the Eastern is a red ruby. Nothing to really get excited about. Right, so I think we've already found a map and a compass in Eastern, so everything else is an item from here on out. Got 2 small keys on the right side. And MM2 is going to go straight to Helmasaur King. Which makes sense, since he doesn't have a mirror, so beating the boss will take you back to the start of the dungeon, then you just clear out the back of it. And this play you can only do if you have a big key in the front. Some people will do this play and then get to Helmasaur's room and then realize they don't have a big key. I am some runners. But yes, this is not easy. This is 4 hearts, green mail, on a very minimal loadout. All right, Spring Ball in the big chest in Eastern, and that's a save and quit for Matkap. Did not get anything terribly important there, unfortunately. I guess Matkap did not have the money to pay the bottle vendor on the first pass, so that was that, which was just 10 arrows. I guess didn't do the Lost Woods either. Oh boy. Okay, we're good. We're good, and that's it. That's our first sword for MM2 and the Dragon token. MM2 remembering to go back in because there's a whole other half of the dungeon he did not do. Spec Rock has a super on top and just like arrows on, or rather in the cave. And Matkap is going to give us our first look at the business center in Upper Norfair. 1 check in logic without, oh, that's a charge beam for MM2. 1 check available without the morph ball, but we know that there's 2 more in logic because the morph ball is available. So the big question is Matkap going to head back to the Ice Rod Cave, because that is where the hammer is and that's where Dark World access lies. Looks like he may be heading, yeah, he has to be heading there now because he's already done Mini Moldorm Cave. He just has to run straight through it. So while it is early, Matkap is not going to feel good about this, since he has to assume that anybody else would just go to Ice Rod Cave immediately after Mini Moldorm. That's not good either, because he has to come back here. He can't leave this. That's a book from him too, so now that is a fully clearable desert with a reliable weapon in the fighter sword, so that is a very obvious choice to make after this, in my opinion. MM2 decides to hammer Yump, which is fine. It's something you usually don't see in open modes. usually has more utility in a key sanity mode. Uh, but when you do that, you want to check everything before you take your death warp. So that is one item he's leaving behind, unless he counted items and I didn't. It is very possible he counted items and I didn't. And there's the hammer for Matkap, now having proper Dark World access. Right, MM2 is going to head up to at least Pyramid, possibly Catfish. There is a world where he just saves and quits out of the Pyramid just to go to Village of Outcast, but we'll see in a second. Nope, he's going to go to Catfish, which I'm a completionist, so I like this. Just cover your bases. Because if you don't do this now, then like the next best time to do it would be when you're clearing out like Skullwoods and Graveyard Ledge if you have the mirror, but we don't have any of that, so just get this now. So it looks like Matkap is going to start with Hype Cave, so a bow and a Morph Ball is in his future. Normally you don't pick up a heart piece, but we are on very low hearts right now, so that was the 4th heart piece for MM2, so 1 extra heart going up to a whole 5 hearts on Green Mail. And with a bow, MM2 is going to complete, or rather start and complete, Eastern Palace, which is a crystal and hence required. Right, let me look at our pendants here. We have... Yeah, we have all 3 pendants in A Link to the Past, so all 4 of our Metroid bosses are required the seed, which, as an SM main, I am very thankful for. Now, both of these runners are no slouches when it comes to both of these games. But they're, what I would call their main games are split. MM2 has many more accomplishments, let's say, in Super Metroid speedrunning, while Matkap is more of a Link to the Past and A Link to the Past randomizer. Main. They obviously both play SMZ3, they both have experience in the other games, but having a split like this is always interesting to see how the runners play it out. So interesting to see. So Matkap is going to take the journey into Palace of Darkness on the same 4 hearts and green mail that MM2 did previously. Again, it is not an easy fight at all, so being able to get it on the first try is just, it's good. It's just good. There's a death warp for Matkap, and he's going to go over to the right side. Right. There we go. There's a spring ball for MM2. And this is where Matkap had to stop, since he did not have a bow on the first pass. Good game knowledge from MM2, realizing that there are arrows under those pots. Granted, there are arrows all over the place because this is the dungeon where you get the bow. So the game wants you to have plenty of arrows, especially for a boss that doesn't specifically require the bow and arrow, but is massively improved by you having arrows to fight with. And this looks like a good setup for the almost quick kill. And there it is, and have some more arrow capacity, and that's our first crystal. Alright, so Matkap is going to go to the back first, and is going to hammer jump here. And I like this routing as well, since, again, normally you don't hammer jump in open modes, but it makes sense here because we don't have the mirror. So this route takes you through the dark maze in reverse, and then, you do Harmless Hellway and the other two checks. And then when you leave Harmless Hellway, you just go to Helmless Arcane. So this route also makes sense. It eliminates the amount of double backing you have to do. Yes, I did assume that MM2 did count the items and realize that the map was the only thing left. So MM2 just being a little bit smarter than the commentator, which, commentator wasn't that smart to begin with, so that's not too... Alright, Matkap is picking up a whole bunch of rupees. Zora is in fact in logic with a glove, so no reason to skip over the free rupees. And M2 already did the back and Dark Cross, so he knows that there was a small key. He's already picked up a small key in a map, so Zelda Cell had to have something, just wasn't anything important. And that is enough for MM2. Time to go to Super Metroid. I think that's fine. Because, you could go to Vu. There's a bunch of items you can get there, and then there's also, Dig Game and Stumpy, which, is fine, but in terms of, how many items are in, let's say, the Bryn Loop, and if you're looking at just straight density, this is probably the way to go. And Five Hearts Green Mail Thieves Town is still a little bit of a tall order that maybe doesn't have to be if we find a heart container or two along the way. Alright, here's the Helmosaur fight for Matkap. This looks good. Yeah, that's good. Helmosaur cooperated there. Back of Gauntlet has some bombs and some supers. We'll get the supers for sure, and not so much the bombs. And that is Matkap's Dragon token. But to remember to turn on Spazer, since if you pick up a Plasma or Spazer in A Link to the Past, it is not automatically turned on when you get Super Metroid. You have to manually turn it on. Because bad things happen if both of them are on at the same time and you shoot. Okay, Matkap taking a Death Warp, it looks like. What's left? Oh, you need to get a key to check the vanilla big key chest. Okay. Nothing under the bridge at Brinstar. Ooh, that's important. That is a mirror that is speed locked. And Matkap picking up a charge beam. And we'll also pick up the 3 hundo as well. So while it won't influence their decisions, our runners will have to remember that Speed Booster cannot be any place mirror locked, because we are playing under normal logic. Alright, Matkap is going to Vu. Let's see, what's that chess game? Just missiles. Edacoons did not have anything either. I think this is where we're going to really see the difference in our runners, since MM2 being in the game that he is, I'm going to say, favored in, while Matkap is staying in the game that he is favored in. It makes an amount of sense from both players. Our tracker today, Aussie, making a astute observation that Matkap did skip the ped check. Matkap does have the book, but it is also unlikely that Pedestal has anything, because Turtle Rock is a pendant, and the requirements to get into Turtle Rock are so great that there's not a lot that can be on the pedestal. So, like, let's think here. In order to get into TR, you need the hammer, the midst, the required medallion, and then you would also need a fire rod and an ice rod as well. So none of those can be on pedestal. And the Moon Pearl, of course, but that's, you know, we already have that. Alright, nothing at Wave Gate, just a shield. We're never getting that. Ooh, that's a space jump at Big Pink. And that's Silver's at Charge Beam. gonna make a bunch of enemies or a bunch of bosses really comfy. M2 is gonna go to Retro Brinstar. I'm thinking Wreck Ship gets routed in this way. That's our second sword. Again, really good to get early. You really don't want your go mode to be a sword. And it's very likely we're going to find another sword along the way. I assume that Zizak was stunned, so is our stun prize a single rupee? We're already at the point where we're turning down full heart containers. Interesting. All right, blind fight for Matkap. Throws on a keep for safety and gets it down. And that's another crystal. And we're going to pick up the 6th super missile pack, giving him an even 30, which is the magic number for Ridley. Good chest turn by Matkap. That's flute at 230 missiles. Right now, that's just convenience, but when we get our mitts, that'll be Mire access. No need to fight bomb trees over power bombs. We've already got plenty. Got a change of clothes for Matkap. Oh, where did Matkap get a hook shot from? That's the thing that he used to stun his Isaacs. I assume that was in Thieves Town. Or Vu. Ah, the first chest in Thieves Town. Right, Space Jump makes checking criteria power bomb super easy. And as I surmise, MM2 is going to go to Wreck Ship. Wreck Ship is always an interesting gambit, since Fantoon's required, but maybe the attic isn't. So usually runners will for sure check ocean missiles, do Fantoon, check left and right super missiles, and I mean, also you check spooky missiles before you do fan tune. Otherwise, that room is just way harder than it needs to be. But then the question becomes, do you check wreck ship B tank? Do you check robots? And do you do the rest of it? Because if the rest of it's nothing, you could just leave. But you don't know that until you're in go mode. M2 laying that power bomb at exactly the right pixel to have it destroy the block without a whole bunch of overlap. That is pretty much, you could not do it any earlier than that without missing. Matkap is back in Eastern Palace, is going to finish it up. And get his crystal, which would be his second. Always a slow. Alright, MM2 going for the on-screen Doppler. And another slow pattern. So probably be a 3-round. That looked like a mid. And that's your 3-round. And that's a crystal for Matkap. With Armo sights going down. Alright, Matkap is going to go into desert, having a book, a glove, and a fire source. And we start with boots, so we can full clear. It's a red 20 on the ledge, though. And a blue B on right side super. No need for the 50 on left, so now we make the choice. And MM2 is electing to at least check wreck ship B tank. No gravity suit, but we do have space jump, so we just never go in the water. I think you have to go in the water with this room, though. Yep. Or Peebs. And the small key that you knew had to be there. Am I missing something? Did Matkap not beat Lama? I mean, I guess. I mean, routing in landmail later assumes you find. Well, you need the mirror for sure, which we know we're going to find because Swamp Palace is a crystal. So sure, but getting back to it easily means you have to find a flute, which you're not guaranteed to find in SMZ3. So I'm going to question that one. You know, like I get that there's opportunities to do it later. I understand that. It's just I don't know. It feels like if you're there already, but I'm not the one playing the video game, so. Ooh, that's a powder on the island. We can scout what's on Ether Tablet, but we can't get it yet. Some kind of flying bomb is a missile, so no need to get that. Meanwhile, MM2 is electing to do bowling. You can see what's at Wreck Ship Reserve. Can't get it without Speed Booster, though. So we'll see if we need to come back for this. Yeah, flying bombs are missiles. Really big flying bombs is super missiles. And power bombs is something else entirely. You'd assume after playing this game for years, you'd remember what the tablet hints are, but no, couldn't tell you everything. Matkap, what happened there? Oh, 2 items and it's a pendant. Got it. Okay, cool. I understand now. I understand things now. This is a spike cave check. We did mention that this was available really early because of Half Magic and Cape and Hammer. So let's see if this yields anything. Not required, but pretty good. That's a Plasma Beam. And that's enough for Matkap, and we're off to Super Metroid. Pedestal has not been checked yet. Matkap did check the Ether Tablet, which uses the same hint system as the pedestal. MM2 canceled that screw tech a little too early. Now, space jump and screw attack makes the X-ray room trivial. If he needed to, MM2 could just do this with just like a minimal loadout, but the game actually gave us things for it. How generous of the game. Looks like Matkap took off Spring Ball. This is fine as a setup for the mock ball. It's depending on how you do it. If you're holding down the jump button as you're hitting the ground, you will just spring, which is not something you want to do in this room. So I can understand taking it off. All right, so there's the mirror for Matkap. Once again, out of logic until we get Speed Booster, which we have not found yet. So the mirror checks cannot lead to Speed Booster. Ganon is a crystal. Now, granted, we know that all 4 Super Metroid bosses are required, but we don't know if they are crystals or tokens. Although I guess we can now narrow it down because the only one that we don't know is Ridley, which we can now just figure out based on, elimination. But in terms of like practical impact of that, it matters for like endgame routing, for instance. Like if you have 7 crystals before you've defeated all of the dungeons that have Metroid boss tokens, and you find yourself on the mountain, you might as well just do Ganon's tower if it's open. Likewise, if you end up in Criteria, you've already defeated all your 4 boss tokens, then you might as well beat Mother Brain and just get yourself a Hyper Beam. And that's our second 5/6 crystal. So it's Thieves Town and Kraid that are our reds. Right, so do we know our 4 bosses? Desert, Pod, Ice. So I guess Ridley has to be the 4th one. And that's Silvers for Matkap, as well as Space Jump. Alright, so this check from mm2 is out of logic in multiple ways. It is locked behind both Varia and Speed Booster, both of which we don't have and don't know. But they're 2 pretty easy checks, and it's also 2 checks that you don't want to isolate if you can. Right, so just a super there. And MM2 definitely has the energy to make this run. In hard mode, I think 2 tanks puts this in logic, but in normal, of course, not in logic. You need Varia and Speed Booster just straight up. In normal, anyway. Well, it's a goose egg in terms of the progression, but we'll take hard containers for sure. And the mock ball on the way out. Pretty good. Alright, now that we've done that, now let's check things are in logic. Once again, intended use of X-ray beam. X-ray beam, X-ray scope is the actual name of that item. But it does look like a beam, doesn't it? Alright, we'll scout Croc Escape, which is just 20 bucks. And I have a feeling MM2 would have done the Upper Norfair Bubble Mountain Hell Run, but not enough energy to really pull that off, so we'll just do normal things, like check Old Man, and then probably just do the entire mountain at this point. Netscape. And that's a spin speed, which gives you the ability to run really fast. You could also do it with the hook shot, but MM2 does not have the hook shot just yet, but as long as you have a sword, you can do spin speed. I don't think Matkap is setting up for the quick kill, so let's see. Let's see what he does here. That's a crate down for Matkap. And that's Crystal 5. Yes, MM2 saw the missiles in the cage room and decided, nah, not for me. Because either you, and without a hook shot, you can't Harapot, so you're either doing tile room in a pendant dungeon, bad, or you're still doing part of, part of the upper floors where it's not guaranteed you're getting an item, which is also bad. Our first bottle, isn't it? Alright, so MM2 is going to activate a flute and likely visit Sick Kid as well. Run the errands, as they say. I have no idea who says that. I think I just made that up. the red rupee on Sick Kid, so let's see where MM2 wants to go next. Alright, looks like MM2 is going to head to Vu, which makes sense given what he's done so far and what he hasn't done. Thieves Town is required, and he has a hammer, so it's a fully clearable dungeon, and Matkap is going to go visit Pyramid Fairy with a big bomb. That's a male upgrade for MM2. The first chest of Skullwoods. Pyramid Fairy's got money and Bombos. So Bombos is potentially interesting. It is Ice Palace entry once we get Mitts, and we might need it for Meyer. We also might need it for Pendant TR, but we hope we never need to go into Pendant TR. So, to be determined on that. And with Bombos, then we now have 2 of the 3 medallions, which is usually just rounds up to 100% for most runners. Because if you have 2, you might as well say, all right, well, I have it until I don't. That our runners are as close to a high 5 as you're going to get. Almost like we just saw these. Alright, that's the end of Matkap's route. He's heading back into Super Metroid. This is for Wreck Ship. This makes sense. Meanwhile, MM2 is heading back the other way. I assume he checked Bumper Ledge since we have a cape. Yeah, but this is Vu and Thieves Town, which gotta do Thieves Town for sure. And this probably ends at Dig Game and Stumpy. So folks, we are about an hour in, a little over an hour in. If you're not following these runners, you should be following these runners. They are very good at the randomizer. They're good at the 2 games that this randomizer is based on. So yeah, give them a follow. All right, MM2 getting the good pixel in the conveyor room. If you line up exactly in the middle of that middle conveyor, you just can dash straight through the room, not hit any of the spikes. And then assuming, of course, that you don't hit any of the enemies, but if you have a cape, then that's pretty easy to do. While Matkap is in the Phantoon fight. Sort of like an on-screen Doppler there. That looked nice. And that's a Phantoon down for Matkap. Line script looks good, and there it is. That's another crystal down for MM2. And that's also his second 5-6 crystal, so Pyramid Fair is now open, and you can get that Bombos, which, again, we don't know if it's acquired yet, but could be. I think Dig Game and Stumpy are new to us, so we get to get eyes on that. And then MM2 could just route in Big Bomb. This missile's a Dig Game. Oh, I guess we could also look at Key of 45 as well. We have the mirror. Big find, gravity suit. Right, does this change the calculus at all? I still think you do Pyramid Fairy, because the game gave you access to both of those dungeons early for a reason. Okay, MM2 is going to do Bombo's tablet first, which also makes sense. Just supers, and yeah, looks like MM2 is going to go back into the Dark World No flippers, can't do Swamp Palace just yet. So this is just Big Bomb. So MM2's already been a pod, so is this Water Walker Splash Delete to get the Dragon? I've never seen that before. That was cool. But now we need to do a Splash Delete here. Was that an Ancilla delete? Like, what are we doing here? Okay, that's a fake flipper I wasn't expecting. All right, that's a cool setup, and I've learned something new here today. All right, so MM2 is going to take the Whirlpool back up to the catfish area and almost get sniped multiple times. And he's doing this to set up iframes. So now he's gonna go right, and he'll have iframes coming out of here, and then you just swim across. And you're good. Alright, so this portal takes us to what would normally be a missile refill in Meridia. But this is actually a portal that takes you between the games. Now, this is technically out of logic, but we can beat Dragon here, and Dragon's required, so let's go ahead and do that. So it's Dragon, Precious Missiles, Bot Uni Tank that's out of logic, and then once we beat Dragon, Plasma Beam is also technically out of logic until we get something that puts the rest of this in logic. Yeah, you always pick up Super Missiles, even if you have Charge Beam. Like, Super Missiles are still better than the beam that he currently has, but... And there's no guarantee he's going to get Plasma Beam. We know where it is. He may not ever go back to Spike Cave, but we'll see. Alright, Aqueduct is also out of logic with no speed, but we can clip that. That's fine. Now, granted, if MM2 did have Plasma Beam, this fight would go way easier since he has Charge and X-Ray, but instead we have to do this fight normally. No Speed Booster to get Shine Sparks, no Grapple Beam to hook into the turrets, just ammo and charge, like the developers intended. Dragon's almost dead. There it is. Nope, you need that. That's Kane Samaria. So we like that since we need that for Meyer. But at the same time, Kane Samaria is also an item that you need to get into Turtle Rock. So that's like, cool, we need that, but also, oh, that's... They get to make yourself sad, because you might have to go into a pendant TR. Let's see where MM2 wants to go from here. All right, Baluni tank makes sense. Just missiles and elects to go down, so gonna leave behind Plasma. There's a flute for Matkap. Again, sort of in the same position that MM2 was in earlier, where the flute is good for navigation around the map, but doesn't actually unlock anything that we don't already have access to. Another shield. I think we found all three. And just some blueberries, so don't need to pick those up either. Okay, MM2 is going to save scum the sand pits here. We cannot check Shack Tool logically or otherwise. We need Grapple Beam to check it logically. We need Ice Beam to clip through. That's a Wave Beam and a Heart Container. Okay, so the Wave Beam is nice but not required. Might logically be required to get into Croc if speed doesn't show up. Right, and now MM2 is going to check the left sand pit. It'll be interesting to see if he resets for wave if there's nothing on the left side, but we'll see in a moment. Yes, MM2 can also Crystal Flash clip, but I highly doubt that he is going to make that kind of play for Shack Tool, of all things. Like, I can see it for getting through to Botwoon, but not for one check. That may not be necessary. MM2 elects to not pick up wave at this time, as instead going to check Watering Hole and Mama Turtle and Main Street. Meanwhile, Matkap is cleaning up Retrobrin. We've already seen this on MM2's side. I don't think there was anything here. I mean, besides a sword, which is nice. Missiles in an E-Tank M on a turtle is not what he's looking for here. We can check Crab Supers and we can scout Main Street. Can't get it without Speed Booster though, so if that fails, then it's just leaving behind Plasma and that's it. Ooh, Fire Rod. Alright, so we... And Mitts. Ooh, boy. Alright, things just went to 100 real quick. Alright, Alright, let's see. Do we actually need Fire Rod? And the answer is maybe. So Fire Rod's required for Skull Woods and TR, which are pendant. Either Fire Rod or Bombos is needed for Ice Palace. We already have Bombos. And we can get around Fire Rod required for the right side of Ganon's Tower since we have the lamp, and I presume both of our runners know how to bomb jump over and do that room without the Fire Rod. So nice if we could find it, but Fire Rod might actually not be required unless there's progression behind it. MM2 is going to take these mitts and go straight to Dark Death Mountain. This is going to be Super Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, and possible TR entry if he has the medallion for it. But that is an awful dip because as soon as you find any item that is not a small key, you have to stop. Since we don't have a Fire Rod, we cannot check the right side. We know where the Fire Rod is. It's behind Speed Booster at Main Street Missiles. So it's just... It's always like... It always feels bad going into TR knowing that you have to mirror out. And you just have to just go along for the ride and just, you know, see what item turns up. Alright, what's our medallion? Ether, which we have. There's an ice beam. But more importantly, there's a Flippers. Flippers gives us Swamp Palace. It also gives us logical access to Ice Palace, which we could have already done that anyway through Fake Flippering, but regardless, now we actually have it. And the Flippers also gives us our logical access to Dragon, which doesn't matter now, but we have it. But I guess we could have also have clipped through that with Ice Beam, so there are now many ways to do the thing. And then M2 is decided to go to Meyer instead, which is also a valid play. There's Gravity for Matkap. Alright, so Meyer is full clearable for MM2. So 2 items and then Vidi. Alright, MM2 didn't pick up powder when he was on the mountain. Did have the mirror for it, so We'll see if that comes into play. All right, Matkap has the same idea, is going to take this portal down to the southern part of Dark World via a fake flipper with a little bit more of a conventional setup, and is probably going to go down to see Dragon. Guessing MM2 found the big key. That would make sense, as he's opening up big key doors. So who's winning right now? It is still kinda early to say. Right now, MM2 has been sort of beating Matkap to the checks, so, and is a boss ahead. So it might be MM2, but then again, this is rando, so like, who knows? I am trying to figure out like what Matkap's outs are. But at this rate, MM2 is just going to like the next play is Ice Palace, and the next play is Desert Palace, and then Swamp. And if Varia doesn't come up, then I think MM2 has the ability to just hell run to Ridley. So, like the out is Matkap finding Varia before MM2 does. But I honestly don't know how that happens, because MM2 is ahead on checks. Like, I don't know what Matkap could check before MM2 that would give Matkap an out here. Like, maybe if it's at Plasma. If it's at Plasma, then Matkap has a shot at it. But of course, that requires that A, Matkap checks Plasma, and B, Varia is there, which we don't know. Because it is very possible Matkap also skips Plasma and just decides to do other things, which is not unreasonable, but he doesn't know that. Obviously, you can't know where your opponent is, of course. But he doesn't know that he is behind. Now, granted, he might have an idea that he was late to the hammer early game. So he might be looking for ways to sort of bridge the gap from that right away, but like the way things have played out, I don't know when that opportunity presents itself. Matkap is going to set up the snail clip again. Always a little tricky when the snail goes over to the left side because, all right, there we go. Because if the snail starts moving, it can hit you, and that obviously ruins your chances of standing on top of the snail. But Matkap does get it. He gets a red shield for his troubles. MM2 going to show us a specky clip to let us clip through the rail so we don't have to go into the next room and use the hammer. Oh, MM2 is going straight to the back. He might be considering himself to be in go mode right now. Is going to check the items along the way, but nothing even marginally outside of the way. So, like, the southern chest, no. And probably left side swamp is just out of the question entirely. So it's just going to be, like, these two chests here, the waterfall chest, and then just things along the way in Ice Palace. Yeah, we're never checking Swamp Big. Getting 2 puffs per spin is good. I think it's possible to get 3, but it's like the timing is really tight. Basically, I never see it happen. Good ice beam shots. Oh, that's Ice Rod. Ice Beam's that other game. Alright, that's another crystal for MM2. Usually you'll see Fire Rod here, or even just a single silver arrow, but Ice Rod you will usually only see when you do not have a Fire Rod. I'm guessing he's saving silvers for, I guess maybe Ganon's Tower and Ganon. Which is actually pretty heads up, considering. Because usually, like, there's no good guaranteed arrows along the route unless you're like, there was one pot in Turtle Rock, but because it's a pendant, we're not going there. So having just the 8 is probably like the actual correct amount. And granted, there's some arrows during the GT climb, but they're after the mimics, which is where you'd want the arrows in the first place. Alright. Matkap has eyes on the fire rod, which requires speed to get, and the mitts, which is the obvious progression. Right, small key in the first chest. And those are the mitts for Matkap. That's one item in Ice Palace. Now, if this was actual go mode, MM2 would just turn up and just go, but because we're still kind of looking for Varia. That's our second item. There's only 3 in Ice Palace, so is possible he just beelines it to Cold Stare. But I can still see, like, checking things. That'll be interesting to see if we get a big key here. Because if we don't, then we have to either bomb jump across to get to Ice Tea. Well, that's our third item, so... Yeah, no, that's... You usually want to bomb jump from the left side, not from the bottom. Alright, so... we have to go to Ice Tea in order to get our big key, because MM2 did not hit the switch before doing Icebreaker. So the red and blue blocks were not situated correctly. And it requires going through the big key door. So we do need the big key to go. If you hit the switch before doing Icebreaker, the ones in the center are down, so you could just go straight down. Is MM2 playing as Saria? I don't know, but that's a really good guess. I will have to ask him during the interview. No fire rod, so we do have to use a bombos in order to break the ice. I am Craze Gamer. Without fire rod, we're just doing Master Sword spins, and this is not great. Granted, we do have a hammer, but the hitbox is wonky and does force you to stand still for an amount of time, which is not great when the puffs are moving. And I didn't want to jinx it, but I think hitting a puff would have been a KO there, but MM2 gets through it, gets a Metroid token, and we're out of here. Now it's time to run. Okay, so we're not doing the Hell Run just yet. Because Ridley is a Metroid token, Ganon's Tower is available right now. And I'm guessing MM2 is going to want to find as many E-tanks as possible to make this hell run a little bit more comfortable. And even if it's not E-tanks, it is ammo for crystal flashes. Because right now, the beam combo isn't great. Like, charge, spazer, ice is... It is definitely a beam. It is not... And unfortunately, he's not going to find Wave, because we know where Wave is. Like, we know where Wave and Plasma are. Wave is in right side Sandpit. Plasma is in Spike Cave. So, he's not going to find a better beam than what he currently has. But the hope is that he finds ammo, specifically supers, and maybe like other types of ammo for crystal flashes. So MM2 is going to do Ganon's Tower at this time. It's going to gather up as many items as possible. Beat Aga 2 and then beat Ganon. And then at the end of this, after he has his single G, he's going to Flute 6, go to Lower Norfair, and then attempt the Grand Hell Run. Now, what it's going to come down to is, if MM2 gets it first try, race is his. Oh, that's... If you're looking for supplies for the Grand Hell Run, getting the Ganon's Tower Big Key in the first chest is not what you wanted. Oh, boy. Oh, he might still go for the 4 chests here. Which is, you know, if that's the plan, then cool. It's just ironic. Game's just gonna give us, like, money and big keys, huh? There's just... I guess it's a little bit too late to play the Ganon's Tower big key guessing game, but... Yeah. Alright, so... Absolutely nothing was gained in the basement in terms of Super Metroid hell running. And we are doing the climb. I expect MM2 is going to check all 4 chests on the way. And the best he can hope for is, I guess, 4 super missile packs, or like super missile tanks and E-tanks, I suppose. But yeah, the results of this race is largely going to come down to, can MM2 do the Grand Hell Run quickly versus Matkap finishing off the dungeons in front of him and then looking for Varia. That's largely what this race is now. Forget the Hell Run. MM2 has to survive Ganon's Tower first. This is rough. So Land Mode 2 is a tricky fight when you're down this many hearts, because the shooter can mess up your setups pretty well. No heart drops there. Wizrobes is fine. Now the conveyor room is a little bit, a little dicier. Like so. And we're back to 1 heart. And MM2 did not take the powder, so no fairy refills in any of the upcoming rooms. And cannot drop down to warp back to the start of the room, because that takes a heart, and I don't think MM2 has any bottled fairies, so... Okay, no fire rod here, so do have to do this nonsense. Oh no. Alright. I see what he was trying to do. He was using his magic in an attempt to fake powder the anti-fairs that were coming up in 2 rooms. It was a good idea. Unfortunately, there were spikes everywhere. Alright, so back to the start of the climb. And at this point, MM2 is locked into this plan. Like, he cannot switch and start looking for Vari at this point. Like, he has to be on this plan specifically. Meanwhile, Matkap is going to finish up Desert, and then he will need to do Swamp Palace, and then we are on a Varia hunt. Oh right, Matkap also needs to get flippers as well. I just assumed he already did that. Two's getting bullied by the Beamos. Oh, get that fairy, yes! Just a reminder that prize packs in SMZ3 are still random, so what you get out of enemies is not like, you can't predict it. It's just like, oh, did you get your rupees? Cool. Did you get a fairy? Cool. Alright, so land mode down for Matkap. I don't think there was anything in Checkerboard Cave. We're past the point of bombs being relevant. I'm going to waiting out the jingle because SMZ3 still has jingle glitch, so gotta wait that out. Yes, we need more small keys. That's exactly what we're looking for. I mean, granted, we're looking for Varia, but it cannot be in Ganon's Tower because Varia is required for Ridley, and there cannot be any progression for crystals or tokens in Ganon's Tower. What is Jingle Glitch? So if you go up the stairway on the exact frame that the jingle happens, you despawn all of the enemies in Ganon's Tower. Which doesn't stop you from doing the rooms, but unfortunately it means that it despawns Agate 2, which means you can't beat the dungeon. And if that happens, you have to mirror out and leave Ganon's tower and come back in and then do the climb again. So it's not necessarily a soft lock, but it does eat time. Alright, Matkap is in Pendant TR. And the first check was not a small key, so we do have to leave. Unless it was a small key and he's able... Yeah, it was a small key, so he can keep going. Yep, this is the issue with TR without a fire rod, is that you check things until you find something that is not a small key, and then you have to stop. But if you keep finding small keys, you can keep going. I think you can get as far as Laser Bridge before you are actually just full-on stopped. Ooh. The chomp's got him. So I think you are committed to continuing this. Alright, MM2 is on the Ganon fight. Master Sword Silvers, which is a very awkward combination. Because normally if you have Master Sword, you are probably also on Silverless, which then you just keep doing the thing you've been doing. But with Silvers, it's like you have to charge up the spin and then like you get so used to having to do Master Sword Silverless and then having to just like wait on your spin so that you can hit Ganon with a silver arrow. It's awkward. Oh no! Takes 2 hits, has 1 heart left. And did not get torch glitch, so we'll have to keep the torches alive. Not a lot of magic left, so has to really be careful here. This is probably fine. There it is. Poof! Alright, that is 1 boss down, 1 to go for mm2nescartridge. But there's a lot ahead of him before he can get to Mother Brain. He has to defeat Ridley without the Fairy Suit, and then defeat Mother Brain. The flippers are in Hookshot Cave. So Matkap is pretty close to it, just has to actually get there. But the thing we are looking for besides that is the Varia suit, which MM2 is going to... Was there an energy tank here? There was a super. Alright, well, it's not nothing. There's Varia in the big chest in Turtle Rock. Matkap is in actual go mode. Well, needs flippers, but... Oh, you're fluting away. Oh, but Hookshot Cave! Oh boy. Alright, well... Now Matkap is going to full clear lower Norfair and not find the flippers. All right, well. All right. All right, so MM2 went back to the ship to refill ammo and energy, and is now going to head back into Hyrule, Flute 6, and begin the Hell Run. All right, 10 tanks plus an amount of reserves. 90, 55, 35 should be fine. Ooh, that's another reserve. That's not bad. And we've got screw attack, space jump, no high jump, no speed booster. This should be fine. And granted, there's another 4 energy tanks floating around somewhere, so if MM2 finds another energy tank somewhere, then that is as good as obviously as good as a Crystal Flash since it's the full refill. But yeah, on this, yeah, MM2 is very likely fine. He has experience running reverse boss order, which requires you to go into lower Norfair with a very minimal amount of things that do not include various suit. So it is not. We can see this being done. So really, Matkap's best chance was to get the flippers in Hookshot Cave. That way he'd be in just go mode and just go straight to Ridley, go straight to Argus. But this is going to end with Matkap trying to find flippers while MM2 is attempting the Hell Run. And yeah, even if you're experiencing it, the Hell Run is not free. There is plenty that can go wrong, so the safety saves are fine. MM2 is emptying the reserves in prep for the first Crystal Flash. I expect he will go down to the farm room before Ridley before doing this CF. He should have enough energy to get there. I don't expect him to damage boost Kago through this. You factually just do not have enough. This might be a little tricky. Do you have enough here? I think you have to take the Crystal Flash here. I don't think you get to the end. Yeah. There we go. Let's start with missiles, and also Matkap just finished off Ridley, but at this point we've got eyes on MM2 trying to do this fight without Varia. That's a hit. I didn't see if there was a energy tank at Ridley E tank. All right, so MM2 is fine for now. We'll probably have to take another CF shortly after this, and elects not to check the item, I guess, deciding that the energy cost isn't good enough unless it is an E-tank specifically, which odds are it's not. Okay, that's Ridley down, but now MM2 does have to get out. He is going to farm up a little bit here, get some resources. Now has 20 super, so now he can do another Crystal Flash. And decides we're going to do it here. Alright, that is the second Crystal Flash. Probably good from here on out. You can probably get to the next save without needing to do anything else. It's just getting out of LN at that point. It doesn't have speed, and also can't speedless speedway, since it does not have wave, which was a choice he made because he saw wave and just elected not to go back to it. There's a tempered sword in jail. That was I was gonna say good for Matkap, but I didn't see him pick it up, and I assume he did not. Which, I don't know, like, I feel like that saves you enough time with the rest of the bosses and Ganon to make it worth, but maybe that's just me. And just to point out, Matkap did get here before MM2, but MM2 has just overtaken Matkap. So the movement advantage in Super Metroid on full display here. I mean, I'm sure MM2 wanted that energy tank, but he was never getting it. And MM2 is out. So you may have noticed that MM2 did not actually do a save and quit, but when you transition games, your game is automatically saved. So just going through the portal and having the game load on the other side is enough to save the game. MM2 is going to take one more refill and then head on over to Torian. All right, here's Torian. Yeah, we'll count it. That was a good Metroid one. MM2 electing to damage down is not going to baby skip. No speed booster, no wave beam, no high jump boots. So this, and also no Varia, so this makes sense. All right, Matkap is back on the mountain. I suspect he is getting his hook shot now, but it is going to be a little late. Granted, it might have been late even if he got it on the first trip, but okay, MM2 has attempted. Ooh, does have to be a little careful here. Gets the Zeb skip, but is now down a whole bunch of E-tanks in a world where he does not have Varia suit. So this fight is effectively don't get hit. Granted, does have reserves, but that is still not something you want to, you don't want to risk it. But anyway, into the Mother Brain 2 fight. Gonna unload all of the missiles, all of the supers, and has a very okay charge beam combo for this. But supers will do most of the heavy lifting here. Oh, Matkap takes an overworld death, just getting sniped by either a fish or a thing that drops bombs. I don't know what those enemies are called. And that is Mother Brain 2, so now it's just wait it out. This beam combo is not conducive to stand-up glitch. And also, just factually does not have the energy to even attempt it, so we're just gonna do this the normal way. And Matkap is in go mode, having picked up the flippers, so Swamp, Gan's Tower, Mother Brain, but this game will be over very shortly. That's Mother Brain down, and MM2 just has one escape left. Since we don't have Speed Booster, we do have to take this route. It also means we don't get to see the cool spark up the climb. That's a crystal for Matkap. That is all the crystals. But the dot done will be happening very shortly. And that'll do it. Get your GGs in chat for mm2nescartridge, who finishes with a race time.gg time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 21 seconds. Matkap does forfeit shortly thereafter. GGs to both runners. Hey, look, it's MM2. GGs.
Yo, GG. Well, to Matkap, who's not here yet.
Yes. Do we know if Matkap will be joining us? Hasn't indicated in the race room, but let's assume so until otherwise stated. So, when did you figure out that you were not getting Varia suit?
When I got flippers. Actually, no, I figured out I wasn't getting it. Well, I guess that is the truth, but I never really count suits as part of my go mode. I just think of something to deal with Ridley and or Dragon. So I was just like, well, I'm never going to search for it. I'm just checking what makes sense along the way with Master and with Tempered and Varia outstanding. And Varia wasn't in those checks, so I didn't get it.
Yep, that checks out. We did see Tempered in Lower Norfair. It was in PBs of Jail. We saw it on Matkap's side, but you were already done with A Link to the Past, so that was never an option for you. But
yeah,
otherwise, yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I think we were out of logic the entire time because we needed Speed Booster at some point, but none of you found it. So shrug.
Yeah. My bet, now that Matkap told me that it wasn't in Lower Norfair or Upper Norfair, was probably Croc, unless Matkap did that too.
I think both of you did. Oh, by the way, let's welcome in Matkap. GG's.
GG.
Hello, GG.
Yes, there you are. You were lit up, but you were not actually speaking. So yeah, that was a fun one for sure.
Yeah, like obviously I wasn't counting on doing much that race, so I tried to, I don't know, skip some stuff. The late hammer obviously wasn't very good, and I don't know, yeah, like I got just like a Varia just before flippers, so I obviously thought like a Varialess was like kind in the question, so yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
not much I can do, but
It's
I'm
hard.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say Matkap, I like the Ice Rod cave skip. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out since there was a very much required item over there. But usually, like in this spawn, like yeah, that's a good time save, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
Totally. trying to get like something out of the way or something like that. It's a shame because like early Dark World is probably like what I could have looked for, and just like go to Meridia to the north or something like that, and just like rush the mountain. Like I feel like if there was one seed in 1,000 I could win, maybe this one was like 120 in some weird stuff.
Yeah, I think the opening was really favored toward you, but then the end game really favored toward me just because of how terrible Bavaria was and the fact that I was never getting it. But I feel like I played solid in the opening, and I played terrible in Ganon's Tower, and everything else was mostly fine. Also, my Ganon was the literal worst thing anyone's ever watched.
Yeah,
But
It was fine.
what's the name of this place? Power Bombs, Lower Norfair, above Fire Flea Room. Let's skip it. Like top
what?
right.
Oh, the PB's in jail. Yeah, that's. Are you using Muffin's tracker?
Not yet.
Okay.
After
I was gonna say that tracker has relatively same location names in it, so I recommend it.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm gonna use it after the tournament. So I don't
No,
know.
it makes sense. Yeah. No, I get it.
So yeah, I mean, like it's obviously not an easy race to go up against, because like at least in A Link to the Past, like at least I can skip some stuff, and but in here I really need to save like, I don't know, half an hour or something like that, literally. So it's not an easy way to play. I don't know. So yeah, but I had fun. Like I feel like if I was against someone more on my level, I could have done decent. I've done decent. So yeah, GG's, and let's hope for a better pairing next week.
Yeah, GG's for sure. Good luck in your future rounds. And I think there's 1 or 2 matches still going for the round. But after all the matches finish, we will hopefully have the pairings out in the next 24 hours. So yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Benefits of everybody finishing their round 2 matchups early is we get to have round 3 pairings out early, and people can play them.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. I don't know. I've said what I wanted to say. GG's to Matkap, and thanks to Crazed and Aussie for commentating. Yeah. GL everybody in the next round.
Yeah. Thank you everybody, and for commentating and the tournament as well. Very fun as always. And yeah, see you in the next round.
Yep. Very good. So we'll get on out of here, and as stated, we'll soon have a round 3. So look forward to that, and you can look forward to restreams of tournament matches on the SpeedGaming family of channels. I have been Crazed Gamer, Aussie has been tracking, and thank you all for watching, and we will see you next mission.